welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton, and I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas holiday. I had a lovely break. It's actually the first time in many years that I've taken a break over the Christmas period, and yeah, it's kind of regenerated me. And I've also trying to get to grips with my new video camera, so I hope all goes well. And until I play this back, I won't know if the volume's right and all those sorts of things. But the best thing is that I have now got rid of the awful, ugly tripod legs from the View. So I'm much happier with that, and I can do a nice zoom. And what's even better is I can see what I'm doing by a little camera up here, a vision of what I'm actually doing. So that does make life easier, and I'll be able to zoom in on things and zoom out and that sort of thing, which I couldn't do before. Anyway, today I have for you a sneak peek from the upcoming seasonal catalogue, and this is a stamp set here. It's called Birthday Blossoms. It does come with coordinating dies which don't actually fit the flowers but kind of work with the flowers. I'm not using them today, but you will get to see them. They're just divine, as is this stamp set, and it's just a beautiful, I'm not sure what you would call it, probably a peony stroke poppy like flower. It's just gorgeous. So that's what we're using for today's stamp set, and I'm using the birthday sentiment, and I'm using this lovely designer series paper. So this is the actual card that I'll be making, and I don't know if you can see there that there is gold embossing in there. You see the shimmer, and there's also this beautiful little embellishment, which are these little bow tie or bow paper clips. So we're using those today as well. Right, so to get on, the first thing you want to do, as always, is to make your card base. So you want to trim a piece of thicker Whisper White cardstock to 21 centimetres by 14.8 centimetres, and then you score down the middle of the long side here at 10.5 centimetres. Fold so that the raised ridge is inside your card, and then use your bone folder to just give you a nice burnished finished fold there, so the card sits down nicely but sits up nicely when it's done. The next job is, she says it's over here, the next job is to trim a piece of designer series paper, and this again is from the new seasonal spring summer catalogue, so another sneak peek. And this designer series paper is called Birthday Bouquet, and I've trimmed this to 14.4 centimetres by 10.1 centimetres. You can see it's double-sided. We're actually going to be using a little bit of the opposite side later on. So you want your card in landscape mode. My numb tongue doesn't like that very much. It's a bit of a tongue twister for me. So I'm going to use fast fuse, because it is fast and it does fuse, but obviously use the adhesive of your choice. Just go around all four sides as we're putting this straight down onto the card base. And I have done a video earlier with how to use fast fuse. Some people get in a bit of a pickle with it when they first start using it. Once you get the hang of it, it's perfect. So just pop that down onto your card base, and you can pop that to one side whilst we do the rest of the card. So next you want a piece of Whisper White cardstock measuring 9 centimetres by 7 centimetres, and this is what we're going to stamp onto using Versamark. and you probably won't get all of the stamp on there. So just turn it over and pop it down. You should just about get it all on there. And the good thing with clear mount stamps is that you can see where you're going, because you can see through the acrylic block. So it takes some of the guesswork away from it. Then I'm bringing in my little glitter tray, embossing buddy, silicone mat and gold embossing powder. So what I forgot to do, which I should have shown you, is actually you should go all over the cardstock with your embossing buddy, which gets rid of all the dust and static, and I've forgotten to do it. So just pop your Versamarked stamped cardstock inside your glitter tray, or however you choose to do it. Sprinkle it with a bit of gold embossing powder. Give the tray a bit of a shake just to make sure it all gets on there. Pick it up, and as you go, just sort of again give it all a good shake. Turn it over and give a few nice sharp raps, and that gets rid of the worst of the excess powder. I put this away straight away. I learnt many years ago if you leave it out, chances are you get gold embossing powder flying all over the place and making a jolly pretty mess. So pop that away. Put the Versamark in there and my embossing buddy. Keep everything together, so I should remember. Just any excess powder just brush off. Bring in your silicone mat. Pop the cardstock on, and then you want your heat tool. Now give it a chance to warm up. Hold it well away from your hand, and you'll feel once it's come up to temperature. It needs to be nice and hot before you start. Now you don't need to waggle around all over the place. You just hold it on top, and once you start to see the gold embossing powder melting, which it's doing now, you just work its way around, and you will find without all the waggling it will just all emboss. You see all the gold going. You can see here where I didn't use my embossing buddy. I'll show you in a moment. So if you look here, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of embossing powder that's actually shouldn't be there, and it's obviously where the heat tool's gone over it, it's embossed it, and it's just left a bit of residue on the cardstock, and that's where there was static. Using the embossing buddy, and all you do is you just literally wipe like this all over your cardstock, and it gets rid of that static. So this now can come in. Next you want a scrap bit of Whisper White cardstock, Calypso Coral ink pad, and this coordinates with the designer series paper that we've got on here. So it's got Blushing Bride in here, which works really well with Calypso Coral, and got the sentiment which says happiest of birthdays to you. Lovely, isn't it? I always prefer to stamp so that I can see the rubber, so I have my stamp upside down on the acrylic block, and I find you get less ink transfer or mistransfer. Right, so just straight down, press, not hard, you don't need to grind it into the ground, and up. If you press too hard, You will get lines coming all around the outside where you've just put too much pressure on and the whole stamp is just distorted. Right, next you want the decorative label stamp, punch rather. Now I don't know if you know the punches, but you get an image on the front and on the top, so it doesn't matter which way you store them. And I go in upside down, and this worked best at a slight angle so that I could get everything in. Take your time. Okay. And punch. And the last thing you want is a piece of, you want the reverse side, so with the little banner punch, and normally I tell you to use this that way, but we're doing it this way. Right, so you just want to make sure your little balloons are going to still be facing in the right direction, which is that way. So you want to punch down just to get a little banner. There you go. And this little banner you're going to hold on with one of those little bows I showed you. And you get, double check how many pieces you get, 24 of those little bows in the pack. So just with your fingers hold your little banner up the top there and slot your little bow on. Says it doesn't want to go on. Why do these things always happen on shot? Right, there you are, there's your little bow on. Sweet, isn't it? Right, so you want some Stampin' dimensionals on the back here. I like to use up all the edge bits that go around. So make sure you get some adhesive over that clip just to hold it secure. There you go, so that uses up that. And right, so first of all, stick your sentiment down in that top corner at an angle. I'm just using fast fuse again. You could use Tombow, you could use tape and tear and tape I think it actually is. And then take off the backing of your Stampin' dimensional roundy bits. I don't like waste. I do like to use as much of all my supplies as I can, and it just makes it a little bit more cost effective. And then this one goes at the opposite angle, and there you have today's card. So I hope that you like that. There'll also be a coordinating blog post at www.stampingatthewarren.blogspot.co.uk. The link will be on the video as well, and please do leave your comments below. You'll also, in the show more section, have all of my social media sites, so you can choose to follow me in however many or few of those as you choose. And I do love to interact with people, so, you know, comment away. And I'm always open to constructive criticism, so if you think there's things I could do better, or if there are topics you'd like me to cover, please send them to me. You can always email them if you don't want them to be public at kim.tolton@googlemail.com. Until tomorrow, ta-ta for now.